Hello, welcome back to the Community Kitchen at Home. The 21st of June is we celebrate the National Indigenous Peoples Day. So for that, I would like to commemorate that event by making something today that's from the indigenous cuisine. The First Nations or indigenous cuisine is a very unique cuisine because of the choice of ingredients that they use in their food. Like the wild meat, for example, they use venison and bison and rabbits and bird and turkey, moose, all those kinds different the wild. You call the wild meat or game meat. Also they use a lot of fish too in their cuisine, and the wild, for example, rice, the berries, all kinds of wild berries and other stuff, all the Three Sisters vegetables, all these things make their cuisine very unique and very different, nutritious, and it's a very simple cuisine, and it's a very, at the same time, very rich cuisine. Today I will be doing the casserole, the wild rice casserole. While the wild rice is very popular in their cuisine, it's very nutritious and good for you. It takes a little bit more longer to cook, like for example, about 40 to 45 minutes, unlike the other rice will take like 10-15 minutes or 20 minutes. I boiled this already. It's like 1 cup of rice. You need to put 3 cups of water, a little bit of salt, and cook it. Like I said, when it boils, you lower the heat and you cook it for about 40 to 45 minutes. If you want it more tender, you add a little bit of hot water and you cook it longer, but this is usually 40 to 45 minutes. It should be good. Also brown rice I'm going to be using. Brown rice is the ratio for it is 2 cups of water for 1 cup of brown rice. So those are the first 2 ingredients I have here. Wild rice first, then we add about equal parts of it. And then we're gonna add the vegetables to it. So we have here sauteed onions and garlic, sauteed mushrooms, peppers, mixed peppers, and we have celery too. You don't have to do them separately. I did them so you will see how much and how it should be done. So we add that to the mix, to the rice. Next one, obviously we're gonna need to add some salt and pepper. There is already salt in the boiling of the rice, so you make sure, and in the sauteing with the vegetables, so you don't really need much. Now this is how it looks like. You could, at this point, you could add a little bit of olive oil and some rice wine vinegar and make it into like a light side to fish or to any other meat. But today we're keeping it authentic, like I said, so we're doing it into a casserole. So all we have to do at this point is just put it in a greased pan like this and bake it. We're gonna top it with if you want it creamier and have more like risotto look to it, you could add a couple of tablespoons of creamy mushroom soup. This is not obviously a part of the Aboriginal cuisine, but it's an idea if you like your casseroles to be creamy, or you just add a little bit of broth to it, any kind of broth, vegetable broth, chicken broth, whatever broth you want. So that's it. This is, you just, like I said, put it in a greased tray like this. Even it out, and then you add the cheese on top, as little as or more as you like. The cheese, if if you like a lot of cheese, different kinds of cheese. I have a mix of cheddar and mozzarella here. So we'll bake it at 375 until the cheese starts. Preferably you cover it so it won't be very dry out, or like I said, if you want to put a little bit of vegetable stock in it, it will make it really keeps it moist and juicy. So we just bake it until it's nice and bubbly and the cheese has some color on it, and that's it. This is how simple it is. This is another thing about the Aboriginal cuisine. The recipes are simple. There's no complicated or like fancy terms or techniques or anything to do things. Like I mentioned, I'm gonna be doing fish with this recipe. So now this is salmon here. It's very popular in their cuisine. They use trout, use all kinds of fish. I chose salmon today. If you look at it, you see how it's thick from this side, thin from the other side. If I cook this like that, by the time this part is fully cooked, this part will be overcooked. So in order to stop that from happening, all we have to do is just we tuck that thin part in, and now you see it's almost the same thickness, so it will cook at the same rate in the same way. So we could just, like I said, keep it simple, like their cuisine, put a little bit salt on pepper on it, and just bake it. I just want to show you on a little different way of doing it. Like I said, it's not authentic, but it's just, if you want to keep it, make sure it stays moist and nicely cooked, you just sprinkle it with a little bit of salt and pepper. If you want to put just a little drizzle of olive oil on it for flavor and to enhance it a little bit. And we could put some like a piece of one over, one under if you like. Dill is really nice with salmon, so I think you would like it if you add dill. So this is called a papillote, which is like a French term. Like I said, you don't have to do it this way. I'm just showing it to you, because I like the way the fish fin becomes really moist in this. So you have to make a pocket out of it. So, and you have to be well sealed. So we start folding this is, by the way, it's parchment paper, not wax paper. So make sure you use parchment paper. You have to keep folding it around like this, so it will make a seal all around. Okay? Keep going. Doesn't have to be like, it's just as long as it's well sealed. You see, if it's all sealed, there's no openings, and then the last part you just stuck in like this, and you get the papillote or the pocket in French. So this we bake with the, I'm gonna bake it alongside the wild rice casserole. Takes about 10 to 15 minutes. I would say that they should come out at around the same time, and I will come back after it's ready, and I will continue with you. See you soon. Okay, welcome back. So the last thing we're gonna do today in our indigenous menu is the cornbread, or called corn pone also. And it's in a previous video I did the bannock, which is also an indigenous bread, but it's the bannock is mainly made of the flour. This one is also an indigenous recipe for bread, but it's the main ingredient in it is the cornmeal. So for this recipe we have only very few ingredients. It's a very simple recipe. It starts with the cornmeal. To that we're just gonna add like some salt, and then we're gonna add the vegetable oil. Mix it well. Incorporate the oil all over. There's so many different variations on this bread. Some can be even simpler with just two ingredients, the cornmeal and the salt and water. And the last thing that's gonna go here is the warm water. So we're just gonna mix that thoroughly until it doesn't really have to be kneaded or anything. It's just like that. It's a simple thing. This now is gonna be put into a pan that's already, preferably a cast iron pan that's greased. If not, you could just use the thickest pan that you have, but make sure it's greased and it's warm when you start putting the so you could just pour the whole thing and bake it as a whole piece, or we could make it into patties, smaller patties. So whatever is easier for you, you could just form it into a patty, as thick or as thin as you like it. And just put it in the pan like this. As I said, this pan is already hot. The hotter actually the better. We just smooth it out. And we're gonna bake it until the bottom is like nice and crispy and the top is like hard to the touch. When you touch it, it's firm. Okay, I will finish, I will bake, and then we'll show the whole meal. Okay, see you soon. So this is the indigenous meal that we prepared today. We start here with the cornbread. Just make sure that you use the finer corn meal, so it will come together nicely. We have here is the wild rice that we did the casserole, and we also have the salmon here. I made some cedar tea, which is very popular with our indigenous First Nations, and I just wanted to show you here how the wild rice looks like. So I hope you learned something today. I hope you try something that you learned from this meal today, and I will see you soon. Thank you.